One of the world's smallest transmitters with that amount of effect, features and range is the MTP61 from Wisycom. In this video, we'll take a dive into the transmitter and even bust a myth. So, let's explore. Here it is, the MTP61, and it's by far one of the smallest transmitters compared to other brands. It's about 7 × 5 centimeters and only 17 millimeters in thickness. The weight is absolutely nothing, 94 grams, including the battery. It is basically an analog hybrid, where we'll convert the analog mic to digital to be able to process the sound, and then back to analog for transmission, and in the receiver from analog to digital again, and all of this with less than 0.4 milliseconds latency, which is way lower than all of the digital systems on the market. The size does not limit any functions. We have a maximum of 100 milliwatt transmission power. We have internal recording, both 32-bit float and 24-bit. We have a permanent built-in ultrasonic filter. It has Bluetooth to communicate with the MCR54 receivers and the MIK16 and the app. And we have a 3.7-volt battery cell with up to 10 hours of runtime. Even the mic plug is a standard size 3-pin LEMO or microdot, which supports up to 5-volt microphones. The display is a high-contrast OLED with 128 × 64 pixels, so here size doesn't matter. So what makes this tiny box the most awesome transmitter on the market right now? Well, one is that the same receiver fits most fields, whether it's live, studio or backstyle jobs. There's an option for you all. And you don't even have to limit yourself to just one area. Wisycom has also made a rack unit that supports up to 4 quad receivers, slot-in style, total of 16 channels in one unit, and when needed, the receivers can go straight back to the bag. For now, let's talk about the transmitter. Of course, there's a very wide bandwidth from 470 to 1075 MHz, depending on country regulations. It has built-in Bluetooth, and with the app you can control it. You can also use it for syncing to the receiver when you're putting in new frequencies. But it also gives you the ability to sync the timecode wirelessly from a Tentacle sync box. Despite the small size, this transmitter can record. It has a built-in 64 GB micro SD card, and you are able to record up to 92 hours in 32-bit float and 123 hours in 24-bit. The recorded files can be timestamped with a timecode in all the standard formats, and you can also name the files with scene and take number. The file transfer is done super easy. Just attach the magnetic cable to a computer and drag and drop. With the docking station, it's just as simple. The docking station holds up to 4 units, and you can charge 4 spare batteries at the same time. And if you connect it to a computer and the Wisycom manager, you are able to get a lot of info about the transmitters and the charging state. A very cool accessory. One thing that makes a difference is the linear transmission. You can set it to linear 10 or linear 20, and what linearity does is it enables a second amplifier that works in counterphase on intermod products by reducing them approximately 30 dB. So intermodulation is no longer an issue. But now it gets even more awesome because the Wisycom has a wideband narrowband mode. In narrowband, a filter removes audio above 17 kHz and narrows the transmitted frequency so it only occupies 100 kHz, and that is done without any reduction in the dynamic range. What really makes the difference here compared to other systems is when narrowband is combined with linear. You just deploy your frequencies in a free space with 200 kHz even spacing, and you are done. If you only have about 2 MHz available space at your current location, you should be able to get 10 working transmitters. And in the overcrowded frequency space we are all battling, this is truly a fantastic feature. How about range? In theory, at 50 milliwatts and with the sensitivity of the MCR54, we should have 30 kilometers range line of sight. But we have a lot working against us. There's the detuning when the antenna is touching the body. There's the body itself that blocks the waves, and there's the clothes and all the stuff we try to hide the transmitter under. And then there's all the other people using the same frequency range as we do and a lot of RF background noise. What makes this one of the best wireless systems in the world is a hybrid RF transmission. And now it gets very technical, so I have sent Torben to the lab to explain exactly why hybrid transmission still is superior to digital in both range and robustness.
In order to do this, we have tested all the high-end digital wireless systems and picked one of the two best ones that perform equally good. This is the test setup. Closest to us, the digital transmitter, and next to that, the analog hybrid. The two transmitters are set to the exact same transmission power and control measured with a power meter to be sure that they are 100% aligned. The audio input is a test tone. The RF output sends into a load. Since we are transmitting to the receiver antenna inputs, we need to have the power low not to overload the front end of the receivers. From the load, the RF runs into a directional coupler, where we combine the two carriers, and from there the two RF signals run into another directional coupler, where one input is connected to a noise generator, where we can feed RF noise. From that coupler we send the two carriers together with noise from the noise generator to an RF splitter, where we split to the two receivers' RF inputs, and to an RF spectrum analyzer to be able to monitor the RF carriers and the background noise from the noise generator. The audio outputs from the two receivers send the audio to an audio analyzer, so we can hear the test tone, and from that into an oscilloscope to see the audio waveforms coming from the receivers. The upper audio waveform is the analog hybrid. On the left we have the digital carrier, and the audio waveform is the one below. The analog hybrid carrier is the one on the right on the RF spectrum analyzer, and even fully modulated, the carrier is much cleaner and narrower than the digital. What we do now is increase the RF noise floor using the noise generator to simulate a harsh RF environment. The idea is to measure how robust the system is to RF noise. Around -47 dB, the digital one starts to have issues, so it performs what we call audio concealment. Audio concealment is a way digital systems can cheat to make the range seem longer by trying to patch the audio with a few millisecond samples from previous audio. With a simple test tone, it sounds like this. At -45 dB, the audio is gone. The analog hybrid still doesn't have any issues, and not until -35 dB you start to hear noise on the channel, and at -35 it's unusable. So compared to a full digital system, the analog hybrid has at least 10 dB better performance, which is quite a lot. Of course, in normal situations, you don't need the robustness of the analog system. But like using winter tires during winter on your car, most days you won't have problems. But when the weather turns really bad, it can be a lifesaver.
This was a little info about the MTP61 from Wisycom, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.